Newport, in the county of Monmouth, is one of the three major South Wales ports and has a population of over 100,000. Our film is designed to show the many changes that have taken place over the past century, some quite dramatic, while others are of a more gradual nature. With the help of early photographs and sketches, the contrasts will, we hope, be vividly illustrated and place on record a small part of the town's varied history. On Stow Hill stands the Cathedral Church of St. Woolas. The tower was built by Jasper Tudor in the 15th century, and his mutilated effigy appears on the western face. A century ago, the church stood among fields of grazing cattle, a far cry from the present day. Westgate Square can be regarded as the centre of present-day Newport, but as its name suggests, it once formed the western entrance to the old town. The Westgate Hotel figured prominently in the Chartist riots in 1839, and this old print shows the original front of the hotel, or posting house as it was then called. It is difficult to imagine the tempo of life in those far-off days, when it was possible to walk down the centre of the main street and stop to pass the time of day with one's companions, without fear of risking life and limb. At the foot of Stow Hill once stood this house, which was the residence of Oliver Cromwell in the middle 17th century. Today, on the same site, stands a bingo hall, and it is unlikely that those who attend the nightly sessions realize who the former tenant was. Until recent times, one of the landmarks of Newport was the town hall with its imposing clock tower. Even since the production of this film has commenced, the site has been cleared for redevelopment. The original town hall is shown here in the 1870s. On the left is the office of the Monmouthshire Merlin, the local newspaper of the time. From Westgate Square can be seen High Street, the main thoroughfare of the town. There have been many small changes over the years, as shown by this photograph taken in 1900. The buildings in the left foreground, for instance, have all been replaced. The National Provincial Bank building, which stands on the corner of Bridge Street, is of interest because it was originally built with its entrance at the front and was square-cornered. The horse-drawn coach could have come straight from a Western film. The oldest building in High Street is the Murringer House, which was built in 1530 with the typical Tudor styling of that period. It is in an excellent state of preservation and still in use as a public house. High Street is here shown as it was before the road widening was commenced in the 1930s. The whole of the right-hand side was demolished, including this quaint little hatter's shop, to make way for an improved shopping area. Further down High Street stands Newport Castle, and on the right is the King's Head Hotel. The present building was completed at the turn of the century, and the original hotel is shown here with the Shaftesbury Hotel in the distance. This latter hotel has completely disappeared to give a clear frontage to Newport Castle. The castle, which stands on the west bank of the Esk River, was founded in 1130, rebuilt in 1448, and then battered into ruins by Cromwell's troops during their brief stay in the town. It is now under the care of the Ministry of Works and is preserved in the same state as it was in 1800. The castle ruins were purchased by Lord Tredegar and presented to the town on the condition that they be preserved for future generations. During the middle 1800s, it was used as a brewery by Messrs. Searle and Herring. Much additional building work was added, including a slate roof on the main tower, so that it could be used as a warehouse. The small jetty was also added to receive supplies by way of the river. The mutilation of the historic parts of the castle have now been remedied under the conditions of Lord Tredegar's bequest. There is little left to bring alive the checkered history of the castle over the past 800 years. However, it is easy to see how its imposing position provided fortification of the old walled town against successive invaders from England. The castle stands close to the main Newport Bridge, which until 1964 was the only road link between the eastern and western parts of the town. The pillars are adorned with the county borough coat of arms, and there is also a plaque to commemorate the official opening. This fine print shows the view in 1860 from the newly constructed railway bridge, and clearly shows the old stone bridge which was replaced in 1927. At this time, the river was used extensively by the steam packet boats which traded between the Bristol Channel ports before the construction of the Severn Railway Tunnel. The Bridge Hotel was used by travellers as the starting point for the 2-hour journey to Bristol. And here is the Welsh Prince, the last of the packet boats to make the Channel crossing. The buildings on the right stand on the present Castle Green, which was later to be the site of the Shaftesbury Hotel. It is interesting to observe at first hand the clothes worn by the ordinary townspeople in the late Victorian era. In the 1890s, the old buildings on the Castle Green site were demolished to make way for the Shaftesbury Hotel, and the site is being cleared ready for building to commence. With the clear area in front of the castle, it is much easier to associate the scene with the present day. Taken in 1866, the oldest photograph in the Newport archives shows the old stone bridge being widened. The stone walls were replaced by metal railings, and the pedestrian sidewalk stood proud of the original structure. The present bridge, although over 60 foot wide, still cannot cope with the volume of traffic. An unusual feature of the town is the transporter bridge built in 1906 to link the industries on the east and west banks of the river. It was designed in this way to cause no obstruction to the river traffic. This is Clarence Place before it was chosen as the site of the cenotaph to commemorate the dead of 2 world wars. The houses at the rear have been demolished to give a clear frontage to the imposing Inland Revenue building, one landmark we could have done without. The Talbot Hotel stood in Commercial Street on the corner of Charles Street until it was demolished to make way for a modern branch of Woolworths. Close to the Castle Green is the entrance to the old Marshes estate, and it is difficult to reconcile the present-day scene with its counterpart in 1870. Believe it or not, the bridge headroom was only 6 foot. Lower Commercial Road has changed very little, but instead of modern buses, 60 years ago horse-drawn trams were the everyday form of public transport. In these vehicles, a journey from one side of the town to the other could take over an hour, but with modern traffic jams, there has been little improvement. The Lyceum Theatre, here advertising a touring company performance of Hamlet, was in its heyday the cultural centre of the town. Alas, redevelopment has claimed another victim. On an imposing site stands the impressive Civic Centre, which houses the county assize courts. The main structure was completed in 1938, but wartime building restrictions prevented the addition of the tower. This has at last been started, and when completed, will be an architectural feature of the town. Lower Dock Street has recently been completely demolished, and the site will form a modern shopping precinct to which motor vehicles will be excluded. The area will also contain a new museum and art gallery to rehouse the art treasures and archives of the town. The speed of present-day development will outpace any that has happened in the past, and we can only wonder what the town will be like after a further century of progress. Already the old town hall has been demolished, and the Newport Tower development is arising in its place. Many outlying parts of the town are undergoing considerable changes to make way for the Newport bypass, which will eventually form a vital link in the London to South Wales motorway. The bypass, which is over 4 miles long, has involved the construction of numerous flyovers and underpasses, so that the flow of traffic will be unimpeded. A new 4-lane river crossing has already been completed, which will lead to the twin tunnels under Bringlass Hill. It is hoped that when the bypass is open, it will completely remove the traffic congestion in the centre of the town. This was partly relieved in 1964 with the construction of the George Street Bridge, a fine example of modern engineering, which must surely rank as the most striking change in the town of Newport over the past 100 years.